Hello. Just realised I didn't have my microphone with me. So, welcome along to the weekly hockey chat. Thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday evening. Lots of questions once again. I can see there's a couple in the chat, which is great to see. If you do want to pop some questions, do pop them in the chat. If you want to join in the discussion, use the chat box as well. But please don't be offensive or use offensive language. I would ask you, thank you very much. Also, if you are watching for the first time, or if you watched a few times, please do subscribe to the channel. That will let you know when we do these live, and if you click the notification bell, that will notify you as to when they go live as well. So thank you so much for watching and joining in. Also, one last thing, if you could retweet this, that would be great. So thank you, and let's get as many people in here as we can to talk about good old British hockey. So we're going to crack straight on. We'll start with a very serious subject, and it was a tweet I received from at Bauer Hockey 75 earlier today. Who says, "I'd love you to hear you mention the Telford-Bradford under-18 incident. However, I'm aware not much can be said yet." So, for those that are unaware, there was a racist incident in a under-18 match between Telford and Bradford at the weekend. Now, I will be careful and say alleged racist incident because, it's obviously a very, very serious allegation. So I'm not going to say too much about it. The EIHA are investigating it at this very moment, so we need to let them get on with their investigation and not like prejudice that by talking about it and talking about the people involved. All I will say with regards to this is that if the allegations are proved, then I hope they not only just throw the book at the perpetrator but the whole library at him, because no place for racism in any walk of life. You can say sport, but just no place for racism at all anywhere. And if the allegations are proved true, then I hope that there is repercussions for whoever is alleged to have done them if they are found to have done them. So that's all I'm going to say on that matter, with the EIHA investigation currently ongoing. And once something comes out or a statement comes out, then maybe we can talk about it on a future hockey chat. But obviously not at the moment, with it being such a delicate subject and such a lot of stuff still to be sorted out with that one. Next question is regards Panthers, and it's something that I've seen over the past week, which has really puzzled me in a lot of ways. But there's a couple of questions. One from C. Jones. I assume it's Kenwyn Jones, and I apologise if it's not you, Kenwyn. And he says, will the low attendance for the Devils game be a threat to future webcasts? This is of Panthers. Panthers doing webcasts now. And then I've got another one from Paul Blackhawk, who I believe is a Steelers fan. Apologies, Paul, if I've got that wrong, but I think you are. And he says, do you think getting disappointing crowds like against Cardiff impact your club's budget? I don't call a 4,900 crowd on a Sunday afternoon disappointing, to be perfectly honest. Would I like it to be more? Of course I would. But I think 4,900 is a decent crowd. It was the second biggest crowd of the weekend behind the Steelers' attendance against Nottingham the night before. So in that respect, I don't think it can be disappointing. To go back to Kenwyn's point with a threat to future webcasts, I think the webcasts are going to be there because attendances do look down on normal. However, the 4,900 crowd compares to one from, I think, 2018-19 or 2019-20, played at the same time of the year against Cardiff Sunday afternoon, which was also 4,900. So they are very much comparable. However, anyone to the arena this season to watch the Panthers will realise that there are an awful lot of season ticket holders who have not been renewed. Around me, where I think we had 3 rows where you could say 3/4 of those rows were full of season ticket holders. It's probably more that it's probably more like 25% now. There's a lot of season ticket holders gone. Um, Anybody who's gone to the game is saying the same thing. There's a lot of people around them who clearly haven't renewed. That's a worry. However, we're just coming out of a rather devastating worldwide pandemic, and crowds have got to be built up again. And I know Steelers. There's been a lot of disparaging comments from some Steelers fans. I'm not saying you at all, Paul, but I have seen some over the weekend calling Panthers a tin pot club for only attracting 4,900 against Cardiff on the Sunday. Now, I can understand some Steelers fans because Steelers are getting huge crowds. They are the benchmark to aim for. Quite frankly, they've done a brilliant job in marketing and getting people in after the pandemic, and all credit to them for doing that. But other teams are struggling, and they're going to. And I think the Panthers are struggling to get people into the building, quite frankly. Now, you can say there's a lot of things that people have found other things to do over the lockdown, while hockey hasn't been being played, and I suppose you get out of the habit. I suppose that's true for some people. Some people are obviously no longer with us, and Panthers was an older fan base overall, and so that obviously has to be taken into account. But also there does appear to be sort of a lack of targeted marketing or marketing in general from the Panthers, which is a bit of a worry. I think they may have rested on their laurels a little bit, and I think they need to get back at it. However, the webcast is a welcome addition, and I think they'll continue. And I think the reason is there are still people staying away because of the pandemic, and we've seen today for 40-odd thousand cases and 223 deaths. People are probably still not comfortable of coming out and being in large crowds or being with large crowds of people. So I think for that reason that the webcast is likely to stay. I don't think it will be for every single game, but I think it will be for most games. They've already announced one for tomorrow night's game against Guildford, for example. So I wouldn't worry too much about the threat to future webcasts. Going back to Paul's point about crowds impacting your club's budget. Well, obviously, depending on how many people come into your arena is going to depend how much money you're going to have to spend on the team. It's simple as that. From a Steelers point of view, you must be delighted because obviously as more people come in, it should theoretically allow more money to be spent on players. And also the Steelers do some great things with regards to the £5 games as well, which I think is a great initiative. I've said that previously on here. I think it is a fabulous initiative for getting people in. So all power to them for that. And but I don't think it was a disappointing crowd, 4,900. I've got to be honest. But if that sort of becomes the average, 4,900, which is lower than the average that we had, is lower than the average that we had over the past two seasons, then yeah, that is going to be a worry. I keep knocking the mic. Hang on. I don't think it was plugged in properly. That's hopefully a lot better. Do any clubs provide free entrance for NHS staff? That's a good question. I think do a discounted ticket. For Panthers, I'm honestly not sure. I genuinely don't know. But I think there will be some clubs who do provide some sort of incentive for NHS staff or healthcare workers, certainly. Let's have a look at some of the questions that come in. Jack, I've got that one to discuss later, this Simon Sorrento one, so I'll talk about that later. Angus, I'll talk about that one later as well. What else does Angus say? Surely with Doucette in place now, surely Gary has a lot more times on his hands to actually do some marketing. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't like to speculate on that. I'll be perfectly honest. Let's move on. Question from Kim Bryan, who I assume is a Steelers fan from the tweet. He says, "Sour grapes in your Saturday night tweet, Jono? None at all. None at all." For those that don't know, the Steelers beat the Panthers by 4-3 in overtime on Saturday in a Challenge Cup group game. Anybody who's watched these regularly this season has known my complete and utter disdain for the Challenge Cup group stages. Hence my tweet on Saturday, which I'm going to find so I can actually reiterate it word for word. Just bear with me 1 second. By the way, I was at the beer festival on Saturday, which was a wonderful night out. So I wasn't really interested in the game anyway. But yeah, my tweet just said meaningless group stage game, which is what it was. And I'll be perfectly honest, I saw it was 2-0, then I saw it was 2-2, and then I didn't know the result until my wife texted me telling me we'd lost with much glee. And it's meaningless. Both teams are qualified already. So what's the point? What is the point? I was far more interested in the game on Sunday because that was for league points. The game on Saturday night and the game this coming Saturday, I have absolutely no interest in. They're basically games where you could possibly get players injured, and that is terrible. Also, are we not allowed to be sad that our team loses anymore? Meaningless. Well, I've got to be honest, Anthony. I genuinely wasn't bothered. I wasn't bothered about the result at all, because of my complete disdain for the group stages of the Challenge Cup. I'm not going to go into it again. I've been into it enough on this channel before, so I'm not going to go over it. Or again, I just think it's ridiculous that 8 teams qualify out of 9, making 2 groups completely pointless because everybody qualifies. And 1 team misses out. It's just depends how much you value the Challenge Cup. True, but I'll value it when it's knockout stages and it means something. Until then, I'm genuinely not interested, and I will not be buying a ticket for any of the Challenge Cup games, home or away, as a sort of protest, I suppose, at how ridiculous the group stages are. I think there would have been far better ways of doing it. What is it? 8 games. Why not have all the 9 teams that are available play each other for 8 games? So 4 at home, 4 away. Decide. Everybody plays each other. If you're gonna take through 8 teams out of 9, at least try and make it a bit more meaningful by giving everybody a chance by playing each other. That's fair. I'm not overly that bothered by a Challenge Cup. I prefer an extended playoffs, wouldn't we all? But that is another subject. Anyway, enough on my supposed sour grapes and my Saturday night tweet. Next one comes from Matthew Bostock. He said, "Do Panthers need an enforcer?" I don't think Panthers need an out-and-out enforcer, but I do think they could probably do with someone who a little toughness, because I do worry that we're getting bullied by some teams. We got bullied by Coventry at home. We certainly got bullied by Dundee at home. So yeah, I think an out-and-out enforcer, no, but someone who would be prepared to sort of drop the gloves and stick up for the team. Yes, I think definitely the team would benefit from, is my personal opinion. Anthony, is the sound any better now? As I assume you're still watching, so just let me know in the comments, please. Next question from is also Panthers related, from @46233_Sam on Twitter. He says, and it's another match night intro one and build up. He says, "What's your view on the match night intro? Lack of player announcements, very poor video build up. I it's any progress from pause banging a drum. Surely the arena is kitted out with technology screening to be used. Is it a lack of skill set, knowledge? I don't think we've had a decent intro for quite a few years now compared to the other teams in the league. We seem to be falling behind. I have a feeling it'll revert back to pause hitting a drum in a few weeks, and that to me personally is just as bad." I am an old school hockey fan. The match night entertainment doesn't really bother me. I'm there for what happens on the ice. So they could come out to the theme from Hey Dougie for me. it's, but I understand for other people it is important to them. It can help create an atmosphere. And also, we've got that wonderful big screen right in the middle of the arena, which I think the Panthers games is definitely not used to its full potential. And I say that because having worked at the Olympic game qualifiers for the women's one last weekend, and then the men's one about 18 months ago. And the genius that is Dave Burnham, who does all Sheffield's match night intro. So that's when you sort of comparing it to Sheffield, you're comparing it to Dave Burnham's work, who is absolutely incredible at what he does. So they were using the screen at the arena to its full potential. It was great to see it being used like that. I don't think Panthers at the moment are using it to its full potential, and it's a fabulous marketing tool. It's a state of the art screen. I know it cost an awful lot of money, and I think it's time that it started being used to the potential that it has. And at the moment, it's not. I do understand that a intro can can help build an atmosphere. For me, as I said, I'm not bothered, but I know that other people who go, they are, and you could perhaps do with something a little bit more inspiring, is what I say. But I know we've covered this the past couple of weeks, so yeah. Generally, personally, and only speaking personally, not bothered. But I think as a marketing tool, it's definitely not used to its full potential without any shadow of a doubt. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Move on to Jack's question, which he sent me and he's put in the chat. So Jack Walker, he says, where was Simon Suaranta? He played a solid game Saturday in Sheffield as I was there. No show of him against Cardiff and no news as to why. Don't know is the answer. But again, I assume he's injured, and this is my argument with the group stages. It's just a game where players can get injured. The other thing I was annoyed about with Saturday is that Will Curling didn't get the start, because I think these group games are the perfect opportunity to give him some game time, and he didn't get the start, which also slightly annoyed me. So on that basis, I don't know. And also, I noticed another thing pre-game, especially home games, is they used to say that on Twitter or on social media who wasn't playing and who was scratched and whatever, and that seems to have stopped. And that's another thing that sort of takes away from the match night experience, is the fact that we're getting there and we have no idea who's icing and who isn't. I didn't realise Surantra wasn't icing on Sunday until probably halfway through the first period, when I realised I'd not seen his number, or not seen him play. And that's not great. So yeah. So I don't know where he was. I assume he's injured, but if anyone is watching the please, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to know why, or as be he's injured and how long he's likely to be out for. Just let us know. So look at some of the comments. EIHL compilations. I know it's early, but who is your favourite for the title? Say, because I'm not seeing anywhere close to everyone yet. On paper, I would say the Belfast Giants. They look absolutely stacked. And I think we see them next week, 29th of October. The Panthers playing them, so hopefully I'll be at that game. And I'll say more then when I've actually seen them play. But I think at this present time, I would say the Giants would be my favourites. But we'll see what happens. It's a long season. What's that, Angus? To be honest, since the CHL season, the budget seems to have been reduced to a mid-table team similar to Coventry. I don't know what the budget is, and I doubt very many people do. But when you sort of look at the comparative squads on paper for the start of this season, I would agree that we don't seem to have been given the same amount of budget as the likes of certainly Sheffield and Belfast, maybe Cardiff as well. We seem to be lacking, but could that be because there's less season ticket holders? I don't know, but I would agree that on paper it certainly seems we've got less budget than a lot of our rivals. Andrew, maybe the lineups on the screen would help with who is icing and who is not. Great idea, and they had that for the women's games. They actually put the full lineups on the screen about 10 minutes prior to the game. Great idea. Something to maybe look at if anyone from Panthers is watching. Right. What's it? I mean, the word Panthers does fit in the Hey Dougie theme, but you've got to have young children to know what Hey Dougie is, I suppose. But it is a cracking program. Let's move on. So another one from Paul Blackhawk, who says, "Would Leeds ever be able to play in the top league?" Really good question. I think as they're only in their second season, not at the minute. I think they're building their fan base. They look to have an incredibly competitive team in the National League this season. So it could be something in the future. But obviously their capacity, I think, is only 2,000. Is there the danger that if they do well over the next few years in the National League and decide to make the jump to the Elite League, they're then held back by the attendance of their arena? Because 2,000, you're not going to compete with the arena teams unless you have some sort of cash injection from either a big sponsor or a sugar daddy or an owner. That's not really likely, to be honest, is it? So the potential is certainly there for Leeds. I totally agree that the potential is there. It's whether they would want to take the risk if they build up over the next few seasons in the National League, become a successful team, and then jump up to become essentially a mid-table team in the EIHL. Is that really the right route for them? You have to wonder. But then maybe if they do well and they do win a lot of trophies in the National League, will they want to challenge themselves at a higher level? That's something else to consider. So to answer the question from my opinion, I think the potential is there, but I think there's a lot of work to do before that. And I think they also have to consistently have the fan base in order to do it. So I think they need to be getting really sort of at least 1,800 a game in the National League to even think about the jump up to the Elite League. But I think they're getting crowds of around 1,100, which second season in, after such a long layoff because of the pandemic, you've got to say that certainly the potential is there. They seem to have a bit of interest from the northeast. Yeah, they're in that sort of good catchment area, aren't they? Where I suppose it's not a million miles to travel from the likes of say Middlesbrough or Whitby. Bradford's close by. I know they've got a rink, but could the Milton Keynes come back? I doubt it very much. I very much doubt it at this point. Another question I've had, and it's coming anonymously, and it doesn't really mention a team, but I'm assuming it means the Five Flyers, but apologies if it isn't. And it just says, just want to know your opinion on fans saying, "I paid my money, so I'm entitled to confront the head coach at the team bench or on the way back to the dressing room and be very abusive in their face, or use club social media to effectively bully the same people and or players personally, or confront them, their wives, partners, children in the street." Not acceptable is my first opinion on that. Now, I'm strongly of the opinion that if you are a fan and you are paying your money into a club, you are entitled to an opinion as long as it's constructive and as long as it's given in the right way. If you are being abusive, then frankly your opinion means absolutely nothing and does hold no water whatsoever. I can understand if this does refer to the Five Flyers. I'm not 100% sure it does, but I'm assuming it does. If it does, I can understand then why there is an awful lot of anger in the fan base. Last Sunday's result accepted. But anger does lead to abuse, and that's not acceptable. Also, if you're just coming off a heavy defeat at home, is it really the right time to go and start confronting somebody about the result when you're obviously going to be angry about it? And I assume the head coach is obviously going to be incredibly angry about it as well because they've lost. So it doesn't create a very good situation. So the short answer around it is everybody is entitled to an opinion especially if they pay into a club, but but it has to be constructive, not abusive. Is the way I would answer that. And I hope after the result, if it is about 5 after the result on Sunday, the tempers are hopefully calming down a bit, and things are probably looking a little bit more rosy up in Kirkcaldy, because that was a cracking win for them on Sunday evening. Let's see, what have we got left? Martin Andrews, what NIHL players have caught your attention? I'll be honest, I'm not seeing any National League games so far this season, or NIHL. So I can only go on what I've sort of seen in match report stats and whatsoever. I always keep an eye on a lot of the two-way players who play in the National League. So I've obviously Morgan Clark Pizzo, who's made a fantastic start for Peterborough. And also seeing how Jack Hopkins is doing at Telford, who is a fantastic prospect. But also you look at former elite league players. I mean, you only have to look at Jason Hewitt at 38. There's still life in the old British Bulldog yet. Still scoring an absolute ton of points for the Sheffield Steel Dogs. What a signing he was for them. So I always check what he's up to. Since he was in Hull, really. But yeah, he's doing very well. Kieran Brown, I always keep an eye on. I was so disappointed when he didn't the Panthers for the Elite Series. A player I would have loved to have seen in a Panthers shirt. So someone I've extolled the virtues of for many, many years. I think he's an excellent player, and I see he's doing superbly at Leeds to start with this season. So I keep an eye on him. So it's really sort of players who are doing well in the stats at the minute, because I've not had the chance to see any of them live, unfortunately. What's that? Tom Brown of Billingham Stars is a fantastic prospect, a great young netminder. If I get to a Lions Billingham game this season, I will certainly keep an eye out for him, Andrew. Yeah. Where's my list? What list? What list are you talking about? I was saying, you could always have the guess as to what the issue with Vipers. They always rumours they won't compete at the beginning of the season. They're always late signing their team, or they always seem late to announce their team, don't they? That's one of the things that you notice with Fife, certainly. And I know that does perturb their fans an awful lot, because a lot of people are saying, well, where's their team? Are they rightly are they going to compete? Are they going to have a team? And then one is always pulled out of the bag. Archie Hazeldine, thanks, Paul. Yes, Archie, who was playing for the Lions in the summer tournaments, and he came off to Leeds to play on defence, and by all accounts, he's doing very, very well. The thing with Leeds as well, what you've got to remember is they're fantastic, with a great British hockey history behind it. Won, of course, the Super League title with the Bracknell. A huge signing for the Leeds Knights, and what a head coach to have. But yeah, Archie Hazeldine doing very well as well. Malik Martelli, yes, there's a player. If anybody looks at the Cat's Whiskers, I did a 3 articles on ones to watch from all the junior hockey that I get to watch and cover as part of my broadcasting career. And Malik Martelli was one of the ones I picked out the last time I did it. frighteningly quick player, and I mean like frighteningly quick. I don't think I've ever seen anyone, or certainly as he was at that time, 15, that fast. I think he's 17 now. Made his National League debut with Milton Keynes Lightning on Saturday and got man of the match. 9 points in 8 games with Streatham, and he's a D-man. His transition from defence to attack is unbelievable. I think he is definitely going to be a star of the future. So keep an eye out for him. Billy Martelli, great player. So yeah, thanks for that one, Anthony. Okay, that's me out of questions. So if anybody's got anything else to discuss, please pop it in the chat, and I will do my very best to address it before I go. But I've been going half an hour, so not much longer. Just a reminder, of course, that Anthony's on, and I'm pretty sure he'll be doing his What's Current stream for all about the NIHL National League, NIHL 1 and 2, tomorrow at 8 p.m. So do watch out for that. What do you make of Guildford this season? I'll let you know after tomorrow's game. as I'm not seeing, they had an excellent result in Sheffield, let's not forget, but they seem to be a bit up and down with their results. Not a lot, not really consistent results at the minute. So I'm very interested to see them tomorrow at the NIC in the Elite League game against the Panthers. So I will probably give a better assessment next week, Angus, if you ask me that question again. But I hope we get a better result than what Sheffield did in their home game against the Flames. Also, it'd be good to see Robert Lakovic back, but after I'm sure he'll get a welcome back to the NIC, but after that, I hope he gets smashed into the boards, frankly, because he'll be playing for the opposition. And all sentiment aside, when you play for the opposition, don't want them to win. It's as simple as that. Okay, any last questions? If anybody didn't hear our Cat's Whiskers news earlier in the week, what we decided to do is move back from doing a weekly podcast, and we will look to do something around once a month. Basically, time pressures more than anything, people being available, and has led to us just pulling back. It's not going to go completely, but it's not going to be around as much as it used to. So just to let everybody know that, and all the people who did ask about it after we put a tweet out on Sunday. Have I heard what is happening with a new rink in Hull? I believe it's been shelved. They've changed the plans completely. I saw something on the Hockey Forum early today. I didn't look into it in detail, but for just a quick flick through, suggested that it's not happening, which is a real shame. Real shame. So yeah. Okay, another 30 seconds. Just get your last comments in. Looking to be back next week. We'll probably look at doing this regularly on a Tuesday. If not, we'll look at a Monday. So, like I said before, if you are watching live or if you are watching watching it again on a replay, please do subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and that will let you know when we go live. It'll be 9 p.m. either on a Monday or a Tuesday, just to let you know. If it's going to be any different from that, I will put a tweet out at Jono Bullard, so give me a follow on Twitter as well. So that's all the plugs in. No more questions coming in. Thank you so much for joining me once again for the weekly hockey chat. Pleasure to have your company. Thanks for adding to the discussion in the chat. It really does help add to the show, and it's just not me talking all the time. I've got something to interact with, which is always great. So have a great week. Enjoy your hockey this week, wherever you're watching it, and I'll speak to you again next week. Until then, thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.